Hey fight fans, I'm Sarah Davis and I hope you had a great weekend. We are bringing you the most recent news from the combat sports world as a legend gets KO'd and another one is called on to retire. We'll have John Pollock and John Ramdine on to break everything down, so let's get started. It was Pacquiao Marquez 4 at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas on Saturday night, and one Manuel Marquez got a definitive win when he knocked out Manny Pacquiao with just a second left in the 6th round. Pacquiao was out cold, face down on the canvas, while Marquez was crowned with the WBO Champion of the Decade belt. In what was a pretty one-sided fight at UFC on Fox 5 this weekend, Rory MacDonald earned a unanimous decision over BJ Penn, who had come out of retirement for the fight. Well, post-fight, Dana White said that he'd like to see Penn retire and hang up the gloves for good, adding that he'll always be a legend and the fans, of course, love him. And White recently talked about middleweight champ Anderson Silva, saying that the UFC approached the Spider with an 8-fight contract. But White says that Silva turned it down, stating that he wants a 10-fight contract. At 37 years old, Silva will be 43 if he fights twice a year to fulfill a 10-fight contract. So those are the biggest headlines coming out of the weekend. Let's hear from John Pollock and John Ramdine. And guys, where does Manny Pacquiao go from here?
Thanks, Sarah, and I think we can both agree. I think Pacquiao Marquez, the fight of the weekend, and watching that knockout, John, I thought that is it for Pacquiao, but now he wants a 5th fight with Marquez.
Yeah, I guess, you know, if the money's there and the fans want to see it, you got to make the fight.
Well, Saturday night, a very, very busy night in combat sports. Let's chat about the Fox card. Very good numbers that have come out. The final rating will be out on Tuesday. But your big takeaway from this show, let's start off with the main event. Benson Henderson, definitely his best performance as lightweight champion, dominating Nate Diaz, which was certainly not what I expected. I thought this was going to be an extremely close 5-round affair. I,
on the other hand, expected exactly what we got because mixed martial arts is changing. It's not just about the fighters that are willing to go out there and take damage. It is all about the athlete in 2012, and Benson Henderson is definitely an athlete. He broke down Nathan Diaz, saw what he's good at, saw what he's bad at, and Nathan Diaz just very heavy on that lead leg, and Ben Henderson took advantage of it, brutalized him the entire time, just outworked him. He was faster, he was stronger, he was more mobile.
Takedown game was on point throughout those 5 rounds.
And obviously Ben Henderson came in here with a great game plan, a great strategy, and executed it perfectly. It's going to be very difficult for anybody in the 155-pound division to take out Ben Henderson right now, completely firing on all cylinders. And I think the matchup that you have to make is scrap this Donald Cerrone-Anthony Pettis fight and make the Anthony Pettis-Benson Henderson fight because, of course, Pettis, the last guy to defeat Benson Henderson.
And they bypass Gilbert Melendez if he's available.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, wait till everything happens with the whole Strikeforce thing. If they decide to bring in Gilbert Melendez, let him get a couple of fights because as we've seen in the past, guys like Hector Lombard who come into the UFC with a lot of lofty expectations really don't deliver in their first show. Jake Shields was the same thing, Carlos Condit. So I think for Gilbert Melendez, give him a couple of fights in the UFC and let's see if he can hang with the big boys.
2 guys who shed any remaining title of prospect and quickly becoming contenders, Alexander Gustafsson and Rory MacDonald. For Rory MacDonald, a great performance against BJ Penn. And with BJ Penn, I mean, we said it all last week. I mean, this is a guy whose optimal weight is 155 at this point. This is not 2004, John, where a very talented lightweight can compete with welterweights. I mean, this is just a new game, and Rory MacDonald really exposed that with BJ Penn. Looking great throughout 3 rounds.
You know what the girls say, size does matter, and that's what we saw with Rory MacDonald and BJ Penn. Rory just absolutely massive, really had no problems from BJ Penn, and I'm sure BJ really trained his butt off for this fight, but Rory was just too strong, too physical, and BJ's his energy really quickly dwindled. I was impressed with BJ with the fact that he was able to come back from adversity. Rory hit him with a number of big shots. One point really staggered BJ Penn, hit him to the body, but BJ was able to last. Is BJ out? No, BJ should go down to 155 pounds and do his best to take out some of the best guys, maybe get a crack at Ben Henderson. But Rory MacDonald, people say, oh, he ran right through BJ Penn. You put anybody in the 170-pound division up against this Rory MacDonald, and I don't see many guys stopping him.
you look at Shogun Rua right now, and I think you take the equation of all the wars that Shogun has had with a guy the style of Alexander Gustafsson, it made for what we saw on Saturday night, and that was Gustafsson really picking apart Shogun and putting his name into the hat as a future 205 title contender.
To be honest, I wasn't really impressed with Alexander Gustafsson. I was actually disappointed with Shogun. I think the Shogun really didn't get up for this fight. Gustafsson, in my opinion, really didn't have him hurt. Yes, you saw some swelling around his eyes and his nose, but that's what happens in a fight. You get hit, you get hurt. But for Shogun, he just didn't take this fight seriously or as seriously as he needed to. Rafael Cordero says that he should really get in peak physical form if he wants to perform.
Can he at this stage, though? I mean, look what this guy has been through at this point. I mean, he is a veteran of those shoot-a-box workouts, man. You know, like at his age right now, I mean, he's probably getting as much as he can out of his body at this point.
Oh, you say his age. He's only 31 years of age.
But he's 31 in Pride years.
Yeah, that's true, but the fact is, the real thing that you have to look at is how much money does he have in his bank account? Does he want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do those runs? Does he want to put in the hard work that some of the hungry guys like Alexander Gustafsson, who really don't have the amount of money and the amount of acclaim that Shogun Rua has, and that's what it comes down to. How hungry are you? Shogun really has nothing to prove. He was a former Pride champion, former UFC champion, has tons of fans, tons of money. It is up to him. If he wants to take things seriously, he'll get a new nutritionist, a new trainer, and maybe go down to 185 pounds.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think Gustafsson, I mean, yeah, he could wait for this title shot. I don't think that's a given, even though Dana White said so. This is someone who likely to take another fight, because you're looking at a fight with the Jones-Sonnen winner next fall. There's no way Gustafsson's sitting on the sidelines for that amount of time right now. And he could use a Henderson-Machida winner, or even potentially fill that spot if Henderson isn't ready to go in February.
Yeah, I love Lyoto Machida and Alexander Gustafsson. This fight would be very entertaining and very tactical.
Sarah, thumbs up show from us for this Fox card.
Thanks, guys. And don't forget, you can stay up to date on everything fight-related by downloading our Fight Network app on your iPhone or Android phone, just like the Samsung Rugby LTE. You can find the latest articles and even watch videos. So that means you can carry us with you everywhere you go. All right, coming up next on Fight News Now Extra, we take a look at UFC on Fox 5.